Introduction to the Book of Nehemiah. In the days after the exile, the people of Israel had returned to their land, but their beloved Jerusalem remained in ruins. The temple had been rebuilt, but the city itself was still broken, vulnerable, and desolate. It was in context and in a deep sorrow and uncertainty. A man named Nehemiah stepped onto the scene. Nehemiah was not a prophet or a priest, but a cupbearer of the Persian king. He had the position of influence, yet his heart was with the people. One day his brother arrived from Jerusalem with troubling news that the walls of the city were still broken down and the gates burned. Nehemiah was struck to the heart. His people, his city, were in shame. In the moment of Nehemiah didn't act out of anger or frustration. He began with prayer. He sought God with a deep humility, confessing the sins of Israel and asking for favor, that God might grant him the strength to take action. His prayer was filled with hope. Desperate for desolation, God would still have a purpose for his people. Nehemiah's faith and prayer led to the boldly ask of the king's permission to return to Jerusalem and rebuild. Despite the risk, God moved the heart of the king to grant Nehemiah resources, protection, and authority needed to accomplish his great task. When Nehemiah arrived in Jerusalem, he didn't just talk about the problem, he acted. He surveyed the damage, encouraged the people to inspire them to join to work with him to rebuilding the wall. He led by example, showing and restoring the city. It wasn't just a physical task, but a spiritual one, a return to God's glory. Nehemiah's story is one of faith, leadership, and perseverance. It's a story of how a man deeply moved by God's call can inspire people to rebuild not just the city, but their hope. Nehemiah teaches us that no matter how broken things may seem, God has the power to restore what was once lost. So what about you? Are there areas in your life where your community needing rebuilding? Nehemiah shows that God will help, can raise above the rebel and restore what has been lost. I encourage you to reflect on what God may calling you to take action on, to rebuild or lead by faith. Share this message with someone, encourage anyone around you, and let's move forward together, trusting at God's plan for restoration. Tomorrow we start into Nehemiah chapter 1.